Tarmogoyf used to be one of the most powerful creatures in the modern format, but it has slowly lost its power over time. But with the new set out, there might be a replacement, Nethergoyf. This is a 1-mana creature that is essentially Tarmogoyf, but it only counts your own graveyard, and while only counting your graveyard is a drawback, it is half the mana. And in addition, it has an escape cost for 2 and 1 black, meaning that you can exile 4 types from your graveyard and recast it for 3 mana. So we're going to be plugging this powerful creature into my favorite deck, the Rock. And when looking at the Rock, we do have some more MH3 additions like Bridgeworks Battle and Bogart Trawler, and in the sideboard we have 1 Vexing Bauble. So we're going to be taking these new MH3 cards into the Rock to the modern format and seeing if this deck can be a force once again. Match 1, we're on the play, and starting hand looks pretty good. We'll lead on turn 1 Fetch Shock into a turn 1 Nethergoyf. An opponent goes turn 1 Mountain into a Soulscar Mage. We top deck up a Seiju. We will fire off an Inquisition, and we'll take their Manamorphose. Play out a Swamp, go to combat, attack in for 2, and then play out a Shadow Spear. Opponent plays out a Seal of Fire into a Fetch Shock. Cast out a Lightning Bolt, taking out our Nethergoyf. Top deck another Bowmasters. We'll fire off our Witherbloom command, milling us for 3, and taking out their Seal. In response, they deal us 2 damage, and then we'll pick up our Verdant and play it out. Opponent fires off a Crash Through and attacks in for 2. We draw Takenuma for turn, we'll play out our Beseiju and pass. And on the incept, they cast a Seek the Beast, so in response, we'll flash in 2 Bowmasters trying to take out their Soulscar Mage, and we successfully do that. Plays out a Questing Druid, then cast out a Monastery Swiftspear into a Scalding Tarn, fetch out a Mountain, firing off a Lava Dart. Then they go to combat, attack in for 2, we'll take the damage. Top deck a Haywire Might, we will escape our Nethergoyf, and then play out a Haywire Might. Don't cast a Seek the Beast. They exile a Barbarian Ring, and then cast out a Bauble. Then they flash back their Lava Dart, sacking a Mountain. Ooh, into a Crash Through. Then they attack in, we'll throw all of our creatures in front of the Questing Druid, but they should have lethal here if they just use Barbarian Ring. Oh, and they have a Wild Slash as well, so that'll do it. So we'll scoop it up and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 2 Thoughtseize and a Haywire Might for Vexing Bauble and 2 EEs. Game 2, starting hand looks really strong. We'll lead on turn 1 Blooming Marsh into an Elvish Reclaimer. When it goes turn 1 Mountain into a Soulscar. Ooh, we find a removal spell. We will cast the Thirst on the Soulscar Mage into a Takenuma, playing out our Nethergoyf, and attacking for 1. Plays out a Mountain into a Slick Shot. Ooh, Saga off the top, huge draw. We will play that. Cast our Bridgework Battle, and we'll cast on the Goyf, trying to take out their Show Off. Ooh, let's go. There we go. And then we'll attack in. Opponent plays a Soulscar into a Bloodstained Mire. It'll push off the top for us. We will pass the opponent. In step, they cast a Seek the Beast, exiling 2 lands. They cast out their Questing Druid. An opponent attacks in here. We'll block with their Nethergoyf. And they go for a Lava Dart on our Elvish Reclaimer. So in response, we will cast an Orcish Bowmaster and take out their Questing Druid. And still in response to this, we'll push their Soulscar. And they scoop it up there. Let's get on to game 3. Game 3, starting hand is a little weak, but definitely keep. Opponent leads on turn 1 Scalding Tarn. We draw a Witherbloom. We will shock in our Tomb and fire off an Inquisition. And we'll take their Show Off. Opponent plays a Mountain and then plays a Show Off. Unfortunate. Okay, Bauble, not a bad draw. Play out Bauble. Look at their top. We see a land. We will shock in our Tomb. Play out a Springleaf Drum. Play out our Nethergoyf. Tap our Nethergoyf for a black. And Bloodchief's Thirst their Slick Shot. And we draw into another Goyf. Another land for the opponent. We will fire off our Witherbloom command, draining them and milling us for 3. And in response, they Wild Slash our Goyf into a Lava Dart. So we'll float a black off our Goyf. And we do find 2 lands here. We'll pick up our Takenuma, play out our Goyf, play out a tapped Trawler. Another Witherbloom for us. Let's attack in for 4. Then cast a Witherbloom, draining them and milling us again. Then we will pick up our Saga, play out Saga, and pass. Another Barbarian Ring for the opponent. Find a Peat land. We will attack in for 4. Then we will make a Construct, play out our Takenuma, and then cast a Goyf from the yard. And opponent scoops it up. We are 1-0. Let's get on to the next match. Match 2, we're on the draw, and we're up against an Obosh deck. And yeah, we'll keep our 7. Turn 1 Surveil land for the opponent. We'll lead on Bauble. Look at our top. Thoughtseize is a good draw, so we will shock in our Overgrown Tomb and play out our Elvish Reclaimer. Opponent shocks in a land passing. We top deck a Saga. We'll fire off our Thoughtseize, and they cycle a Timeless Dragon, and we can't beat a Blood Moon, so we will take that, then play out our Saga, and attack in for 1. An opponent casts out a March, taking out our Saga, and then Galvanic discharges our Reclaimer. Top deck another Goyf, we will play out our Verdant, and then cast out our Goyf. Opponent plays out a Sokenzan, and then flashes back a Timeless Dragon. You draw a Blooming Marsh, we'll go to combat, attack in with our Goyf, and we'll fire off a Witherbloom command, draining them and milling us, and we will pick up a Verdant, play that out for turn, and pass. Opponent plays out a Mesa, attacks in for 4. 4. And we top deck a Shadow Spear. Unfortunate draw. We will go to combat, attacking for 5. Yep, and they play out a Solitude, exiling our Goyf. We'll play out a tapped Marsh into a Shadow Spear, passing. Opponent buys Obosh and attacks in. We'll flash into Bowmasters, shoot the Solitude for 1, and try and trade. Then opponent plays out an Aganjo into a Flage. Okay, Nether Goyf, not a bad pickup. We'll play that out. Then pick up our Gigantha, play a Verdant, and pass. Opponent plays out their Obosh into a land and attacks in for 4. We top deck an Inquisition. We will equip our Goyf, go to combat, back in for 6, then play out our Haywire Might and pass. Opponent escapes their Flage, taking out our Haywire Might. Then they dash a Ragavan, attacking in for a few points. We top deck a Saga. Guess we have to attack here. They do take the damage, but sadly there's nothing we can do at this point, so we will scoop it up and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out a Bowmaster, 2 Witherbloom Command, a Trawler, and a Bauble for 2 Pick Your Poison, Haywire Might, Soul Guide Lantern, and a Torok. Game 2, starting hand looks pretty decent, just loses to Blood Moon, but we'll keep. Lead on turn 1 Blooming Marsh, play out a Goyf, play out our Bauble, and pass. Upkeep Bauble them, seeing a Mesa. We draw a push, we will play out our Goyf, go into combat, attacking for 1, then play out a Rot Farm, bouncing our Blooming Marsh. Opponent plays out a Plains, we top deck a Saga, we'll play that out, then play our Springleaf Drum, go to combat, attack in for 2, and on our end step they march our Saga into a Bolt on our Goyf. Opponent shocks in a land, plays out a Fable. So in step we will fire off a Bowmaster, shooting them for 1, and then tap our creature for a black mana and push the Shaman. We top deck a Bloodjuice Thirst, we'll go to combat, attacking with the team. They're down to 8, we'll play out a Blooming Marsh, play out our Soul Guide Lantern, exiling their land. Opponent discards a Bolt, we will shoot them for 1. Opponent evokes out a Solitude, taking out our Goyf, and then plays out another Fable. And in step we will cycle our Lantern, finding a Lava Spur Boots, and a Reclaimer off the top. So we will cast out our Bloodchief's Thirst, taking out their Shaman, cast our Lava Spur Boots, then play out our Elvish Reclaimer, tap our Reclaimer, equip this to our Bowmasters, and attacking for 4. Upkeep opponent before their Fables trigger, they cast a Discharge on our Orcish Bowmasters, then they discard a Phage on the card, playing out a Floodstrand. And we top deck another Reclaimer, so we will play out the Reclaimer, equip the boots to it, and attack in with the team. And they do have another Discharge, unfortunately, and they fetch, getting a Surveil land, and they do take out a Reclaimer. They're at 1 though. Oh, I forgot to equip Lava Spur Boots to my Reclaimer. That's a pun. Or they escape the Phage, taking out our Reclaimer, and then they play out a Den of the Bugbear. Yeah, we top deck another land. I did kind of punt it a little bit away by not equipping, but I don't think that would have really mattered. But anyways, let's scoop it up and get on to the next match. Match 3, we are on the play, and starting hand's just a little too weak, so we got a Mole. And our 6 is much stronger. We will keep putting back a Shadow Spear. We'll lead on turn 1 Tomb into a Reclaimer. Ooh, a fellow Reclaimer. Might as well shock here, cast a push on their Reclaimer into another Reclaimer. I'm gonna place a Valakut into a Reclaimer. We draw a Bloodchief's Thirst. We will use a Reclaimer, picking up our Golgari Rot Farm, bouncing our Shockland, shock in our Shockland, and then cast a push on the Reclaimer, then attack in for 1. Tap land from the opponent. We will play out our Takenuma. Then we'll use a Reclaimer now, getting rid of our Takenuma, picking up a Saga, and attack in for 3. Opponent cast a Savine's Reclamation, picking up a land, then playing out another land. And on the end step, we will flash in our Bowmasters, shooting the opponent for 1. We pick up another land. We will play out our Forest, go to combat, back in with the team. And we take down game 1 after they untap, scooping it up, so let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 2 Witherbloom Command and 2 Mistress Bauble for a Haywire Might, Torok, and 2 Pick Your Poison. Game 2, starting hand looks very playable, so we'll keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Forest into a Reclaimer. We draw a land, we'll go turn Blooming Marsh and kill the Reclaimer. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a Colony Heart Expedition. We'll play out a Saga, and I think we will cast a Pick Your Poison, making them sack their Expedition. Another Mountain for the opponent, playing out a Dryad into a tapped land. Tap deck another Tomb. We will shock in our Overrun Tomb and pass. Opponent plays an Arena of Glory and then attacks in with their Dryad. Passing, so we will make a Saga token. Ooh, another Saga for us. We will make another Construct, and we'll pick up a Haywire Might, play out our Saga, and then attack in for 3. Opponent plays out a tapped land into a Scape Shift, and yeah, with the Dryad out, this is just lethal. They can get a Valakut and just some other land, so we'll scoop it up here and get on to game 3. Game 3, our starting hand just a little too slow here, so we gotta mull this. And our 6 looks much stronger here. We'll keep putting back a Blooming Marsh. Lead on a Bauble, looking at their top card, seeing a land, then we will fetch Shock and Thoughtseize, and we'll take their Elvish Reclaimer. We draw a Blooming Marsh off the Bauble and a Saga, huge draw here. I think we will play out our Saga still into an Elvish Reclaimer. Opponent shocks in a Stomping Ground, then play us out a Colony Heart Expedition. We draw another Blooming Marsh, we will play that out and attack in for 1. Opponent plays out a fetch land, and we will will make a construct on their end step. Ooh, we top deck a Bowmasters. So I think we're gonna float a mana off of Saga here. Pick up a Haywire Mite, then fire off a Witherbloom command, destroying a permanent with CMC 2 or less and milling us. Then we will pick up a Saga and play out Blooming Marsh actually here. Then casting out a Bowmasters now, shooting the opponent for 1, then attacking in for 5. Opponent shocks a land in, playing out a Wrath of Skies. Oh my goodness, did not expect that. All right, Bowmasters was a fantastic draw though. We'll play out our Saga, passing. Opponent plays out a One Ring. In response, we'll cast our Bowmasters, shoot the opponent for 1, then they draw a card, we'll shoot ourselves, and then plays out a fetch land. Ooh, pick your poison off the top. Fantastic draw. Make them sacrifice an artifact and pass. Opponent plays out a Flage, taking out our Orc army. Then they play out a land. Instead, we will make a construct. Another land off the top. We will make a construct. And I wish we could get Lava Spur Boots, but I think we actually have to get Nile Spellbomb because we're going to lose to Flage here. So we'll pick up the Nile Spellbomb, go to combat, attacking for 4 here. Down to 5. We gotta activate Spellbomb. We'll draw a card, finding a removal spell, then play a tap land, and I guess we're just gonna have to hope they don't kill us here. They have another land, and we know they have Scapeshift in their hand. Yeah, they cast it out. Unfortunate. We'll just make sure they have enough mountains, but I'm sure they do. Yep, and they definitely have enough mountains here, so we'll scoop it up and get on to the next match. Match 4, we're on the draw, and starting hand looks perfectly fine. Opponent goes turn 1 Force into a Halfling. We top deck a Bowmasters. We will play out a Marsh and push their Halfling. Opponent fetch shocks into a Wall of Roots, and then plays out a Tukatung Thallid. What is this? Guess we'll play out our Saga now and cast a Bowmasters, getting rid of Tukatung Thallid. Interesting. Opponent casts out another Wall of Roots. Ooh, a push for us. And we just want to minimize Court of Callings here, so we'll push a Wall of Roots. Yeah, and they did have a Chord, so they're courting for 2. I need a Bowmaster of their own, so we will play out our Verdant, fetch shock, and play out a Elvish Reclaimer. Opponent casts out a Grist, ticking up, milling over a Cauldron. We find another Reclaimer. We'll float a mana off Saga, picking up a Shadow Spear. Then we will cast our Witherbloom command, taking out their Bowmasters and milling us for 3. And we'll pick up a Verdant here, play out our Verdant, fetch, picking up a Forest, and equip our Shadow Spear to a Reclaimer, attacking their Grist with our 4/5. And they block with 2 creatures, so we'll take out 2 and deal 1 to Grist. Opponent downticks their Grist, sacking a creature, and taking out a Reclaimer. Ooh, playing out a Pendlehaven. We top deck a Thoughtseize. We will play out a Reclaimer, then another Reclaimer, play out our Boseiju, and equip a Shadow Spear to one of the Reclaimers, passing. Opponent plays out a Young Wolf, ticks up their Grist. We top deck a land. We'll go to combat, attacking with our Reclaimer, and we take out their Grist. We will play a land, pick up our Jogantha, and then fetch out a Swamp, passing. Opponent passes back. We will activate Reclaimer, sacking Boseiju, picking up a Saga. Another land for us. We will fire off our Thoughtseize. Taking their Chord, which they did not cast. We take those. We'll go to combat, attacking with the Reclaimer, then shocking our Tomb and pass. Top decks a land and keeps a card on top. We will make a construct, sack a land, pick up another Saga. Ooh, Nether Goyf. Don't mind if we do. We will make a construct, pick up a Lobster Boots, play out our Goyf, whip our Boots to our Goyf, go to combat, attacking with the team, and they make these blocks. They're down to 5. And opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out a Haywire Mite, Boseiju, and 3 Witherbloom commands for Bajuka Bog, Soul Guide Lantern, 2 Curse Hold'em, and a Pithy Needle. Game 2, starting hand is pretty sweet, so we'll keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Overgrown Tomb into a Young Wolf, casting a Flare of Cultivation. Oh, that's pretty sweet. We top deck a push. We will cast out our Bauble, look at their top. Okay, seeing a Court of Calling, pretty good. We will shock in our Tomb and cast our Thoughtseize. And I think we're just going to take a Flare of Cultivation. Ooh, top deck another Goyf. Opponent plays out 2 Delighted Halflings into a Swamp. Ooh, another Goyf. So we will fire off a Fatal Push on the Young Wolf, then play out a Forest and our Nile Spellbomb. They top deck a Yawgmoth. That's really good. Then they attack in for 2. We find a Bogart Trawler. We will cast out our Goyf, play out a Rot Farm, bouncing our Forest, and hope we don't lose with this Yawgmoth on board. Opponent plays out a Cauldron. Okay, we top deck a Thoughtseize, and we will fire off a Bloodchief's Thirst on their Yawgmoth, and in response they Chord for 2, picking up a Strangleroot Geist, and they sack Strangleroot Geist, putting a -1 on our Nether Goyf, and they sack another creature, and it looks like they're just going to keep sacking some stuff. They're up to 5 cards in hand. Our Goyf is a 0/1, and we'll pass back. Yep, Yep, and they go to exile their Yawgmoth, so we have to exile their yard. Opponent plays out a forest into an Essence Warden, then a Young Wolf, then they cast out a Flare Cultivation into a Grist. Oh my goodness, their hand was so good. They'll attack in for 3, we'll take the damage, and they tick up, make an insect. Top deck a Bauble, we'll fire it off, looking at their top card. Seeing another Grist, and yeah, that's gonna do it. We'll scoop it up there because they can just, exile it with Cauldron and do some shenanigans. So let's get on to game 3. Game 3, starting hand looks pretty sweet. We'll lead on turn 1 Swamp passing. Nothing from the opponent. Ooh, we top deck a Reclaimer. We'll shock in our land, fire off Thoughtseize, and we'll take their Chord here, then play out our Reclaimer. Opponent plays out a Verdant, we top deck a land. We will play out our Takenuma and pass. Land for the opponent, we will use our Reclaimer, second Takenuma, and pick up a Saga. We top deck another Goyf, and we'll actually cast out our Witherbloom now, draining and milling us for 3. And we will pick up a Nurturing Peatland, play out our Peatland, and then play out our Netherglyph. And on our end step, they flash in an Endurance. Opponent plays a Swamp, attacks in for 3, then cast a Pylon on our Reclaimer, bending a land of the Yawgmoth. We draw a Witherbloom, we'll make a Construct, picking up Pithing Needle, naming Yawgmoth, then we'll fire off one of our pushes, taking out an Endurance, and attacking for 4. Opponent plays out a Shifting Woodland into a Thallid and a Grist. Ooh, we top deck a Shadow Spear. We will play that out and equip it to our Goof, go to combat, and try and take out their Grist. And opponent top decks another Grist, and they down tick this time, attacking their Thallid, taking out our Goyf. Ooh, we find a Bowmasters. We will cast out our Witherbloom, taking out one of their creatures and milling us. Pick up a Saga, play out Saga, then play out a Bowmasters, taking out the other 1/1, and then attacking down their Grist. Someone plays out our Tower, and then on our upkeep, they try and copy their Endurance out of their yard. We top deck another Goyf, so we'll go to combat, attack in with our Construct, and they block, so we'll make a Construct. Cool. And then we'll play out our Goyf, and then they scoop it up. We are 2-2. Let's get into the 5th and final match. Match 5, we're on the play, and starting hand looks fine. We'll lead on a Bauble, looking at our top, seeing a Bowmasters, which I think is fine, so we'll play out our land, play out another Bauble, and pass. Opponent leads on turn 1 plains. We'll look at our top again, seeing a Bauble, which I don't think we want. We draw a Bauble anyways. We love that. Play out our land and pass. Ooh, Leonin Arbiter for the opponent. So in step, we will flash to Bowmasters, shooting the opponent for 1. Ooh, Thoughtseize off the top, not bad. Fire that off. Their hand looks pretty sweet here. I think we're just going to take these sort of Fire and Ice, play out Bauble, play out Springleaf Drum, look at their top card, and then cast a Fatal or a Bloodchief's Thirst on the Arbiter and get in for 1. Opponent plays out a Fault into an Archon. We top deck another push. We'll play out our Marsh, attack in with our army, and pass. Opponent plays out a Stoneforge Mystic, picking up a Cauldron. Then they attack in, and on the end step, we will fire off a push on the Stoneforge. Witherbloom Command, not a bad pickup. We will play our Witherbloom Command, draining and milling, picking up our Bloodstained Mire, play out our Mire, and go to combat, attacking in for 2. Nothing from the opponent. We top deck a Glory Rod Farm. We'll go to combat, attack in with our Orc Army, which they do try and block with the Archon. So we will cast out our Bowmasters, which they Aven Interpreter, and we'll pass. Opponent plays out a Leonin Arbiter. We will fetch, and they attack in with the team, so we will just take 4. And end step, we will push their Archon. And in response, they just take out our land, which is fine. We find a land. We will go to combat, attack in with our Bowmasters. Then we will cast out our Bowmasters, singing the opponent for 1. Play out our land and pick up our Gigantha. Oh, cast out a White Orchid Phantom, taking out a land. Then they play out a tapped land into a Giver, and they attack in with the team. Okay, Witherbloom Command, not a bad draw. We will cast that. Gaining and milling. We do finally find a Saga. We will play out our Saga and pass back. Opponent goes plains, attacks in, and then plays out an Aether Vial. We find a Takenuma. We'll play out our Rot Farm, bouncing a Forest to our hand. Opponent goes combat, attacks in for 4, and in step, we'll make a Construct. They have an Ephemerate. Oh my lord. All right, well, they Ephemerate, taking out our Saga. Pretty good. And we top deck a push, and sadly at this point we're too far behind, so we'll scoop it up and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out a Nile Spellbomb, a Trawler, and 2 Baubles for Haywire Mite, 2 EEs, and a Torok. Game 2, hand just a little too landlight, so we got a Mole. And 6 looks much stronger. We'll put back a Witherbloom. We'll lead on turn 1 Fetch Shock into a Haywire Mite. One goes turn 1 a Gonjo into a Giver. We top deck a Blooming Marsh. We'll play it out, go to combat, attacking with our Mite, and then cast a Witherbloom Command, draining and milling. Opponent plays out a Ghost Quarter into a Stoneforge, picking up a Cauldron. Cauldron. Ooh, we top deck another Goyf. We will play that out and then play out our Verdant. Opponent evokes out a Solitude, taking out our Haywire Might and ephemerating the Solitude, taking out our Nether Goyf. And they have another white source to put in a Cauldron. It's pretty good, but we'll see if we can actually hold down the board with a Torok here. We top deck a Fatal Push, not a bad draw. We'll fetch out a Swamp and then kick out a Torok. On their upkeep, they rebound Ephemerate, targeting the Stoneforge Mystic. I don't know why they're activating, and they pick up a Batterskull and attacking for 5. Okay, Thoughtseize is not terrible. We will Fatal Push the Giver. They pro-black their Solitude. Guess we have to Thoughtseize them. Taking their Batterskull, throwing our Torok, cast out our Witherbloom, draining and gaining. Unfortunately, we don't find a Saga here. So we'll play out our land and pass. Someone plays out a land, attacks in for 5. We find another Thoughtseize. Guess we will cast out a Goyf, then pass back. Someone attacks in. We will chump with our Nether Goyf. And they play out a Leonin Arbiter. We will play out our EE and pass back. Yep, an opponent sees the line to get the dub here. They just attacking with everything. And unfortunately, we lost this one as well, going negative in the league. While we did go negative in the league, I didn't really have the most highest of hopes for this deck, especially considering it's a mid-range list. And this is like a super new format. It's kind of hard to, really build your sideboard and deck to like keep up with the format, especially when you don't really know exactly what you're playing against. As for new cards that we were testing in this list, the Nether Goyfs were definitely playable. I don't know if it's better or worse than Tarmogoyf specifically. They don't grow as large, but they're a little bit more grindy and they have their spots. So I don't think that necessarily 4 of In the Rock is the go-to, or playing Tarmogoyf over Nether Goyf is the go-to, but I just think it would need more testing overall. As for the modal face lands, the Bogart Trawler and the Bridgeworks Battle, I think these cards are really good. I mean, the opportunity cost, or like the floor of these, is just a untap black or green source. As for the one Vexing Bauble on the sideboard, definitely want to acknowledge that this card is going to be played in this deck. There is not a lot of Cascade currently going around, and I think that'll probably change at some point, so this is definitely a good option to have in the deck. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.